A political bombshell in Minnesota this morning when President Trump surprisingly announced he's endorsing Mike "My Pillow" Lindell in the Republican primary for governor in our state. Trump's endorsement in a Republican primary is huge, as whoever he gives his backing to wins 97% of the time in that primary. Here's Danny.
President Trump injected himself into the Minnesota governor's race on Wednesday with his endorsement of Mike Lindell, calling the My Pillow founder one of America's greatest and most hardworking patriots.
But I didn't ask him for his endorsement, and I didn't want his endorsement based on our friendship. I wanted him to endorse me based on merit.
Lindell is a longtime ally of Trump who has faced litigation from voting machine companies over his unproven claims about the 2020 election results.
For voters, to be clear, do you still believe the 2020 election was stolen from President Trump?
100% it was.
Trump's endorsement comes less than a month before the August 11th GOP primary for governor, when Lindell will compete against House Speaker Lisa Demuth and the state party's endorsed candidate Kendall Qualls. After missing out on the president's endorsement, Demuth praised Trump's policies, but said she's laser focused on winning the primary, while Qualls called on voters to respect the delegates who endorsed him at the state party convention in May.
Except in a few cases this election cycle, the endorsement from the president has been a win for the primary.
But Republican strategist Amy Frederickson says Trump's support could be a liability for Lindell in a general election, given that Trump lost Minnesota in all three of his presidential runs.
That's the trick, right? That has not, in general, in Minnesota been a good thing.
According to a KARE 11 Star Tribune U of M poll last month, Lindell trails presumptive DFL governor nominee Amy Klobuchar by 17 points in a hypothetical matchup. In a brief statement, Klobuchar said, "Mike Lindell is Donald Trump's choice. I hope to be Minnesota's." Meanwhile, even Minnesota GOP chair Alex Plekish urged Republican voters to choose another nominee.
Minnesota Republican leadership in the state says that you're not electable. The party released a statement saying that you have serious financial baggage, public records showing tens of thousands of dollars in delinquent property taxes, significant electability concerns. What do you make of that response from the state party?
Well, they're just a uniparty attack by Alex, the head of our GOP here in Minnesota. We've got to get rid of. I'm going to put out a whole statement I have ready here. We're going to do that press release in about 15 minutes, where I'll give you a full statement. But shame on him and shame on that party.
The Minnesota Democratic Party, the DFL, meanwhile, released this statement saying, quote, "Mike Lindell is Minnesota's election-denying Trump clone, and we look forward to holding them both accountable in November." Should be an interesting primary, to say the least.